Excuse me, Mayor.
Yes.
When is the construction on the roads in Northwood subdivision gonna be complete? Because it's,
I actually meant to address that, I'm sorry, thank you for bringing it up. What we decided to do, because we're not road experts, we asked the city and they agreed to get their engineer and get their bid, and we will pay them the money. So if you don't mind, and the mayor was pushing us to get it done before winter, if you don't mind if I could do that.
Sure, and also the bids are gonna be open Friday, and so we'll know, and then it has to be a resolution, so we have to do those first.
and has all the conduits been checked?
Yes, we verified all pathways, checked all that, all.
Is it just the
pathways.
conduits on one side, or has it
No,
all
both
been checked?
sides. No, both sides.
Which side? I mean, I'm trying to figure out,
I'm
is
picturing
it just the Starlight side, or is it the Northwood side? Or is it, Wood side? Have y'all checked that? Because if you actually look, you can see where the damage has been done, and seeing if, because those are all connected in one location.
When I was seeing both sides, I was talking both sides of North Starlight Street. If you have a concern on Middle Street there, certainly get with us.
That's why our engineers are sitting on that side.
Okay. Mayor, I was just asking to have you
Sure.
go and take a look at that?
Yes. On Woodside, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
I had one. I live on the Snug Circle, about 300 yards from the rupture area. And our church is at 42 Snugs, which is right across the street from where I live. And y'all been digging that whole pipeline up back there, or going through it. And then you dug that pipeline up right there, right by our church, right behind our fellowship hall. Can you tell me why you're doing that? And why was the pipe exposed for 24 hours?
Yes.
And we can smell the fumes?
Pipeline has not been open where any fumes would be coming out of it. In fact, I was here a few weeks ago and I went and observed a couple of digs just from a safety standpoint. Was the excavation appropriate for doing the gas test? So I have to get on to it. But what I can tell you is, you probably heard in the media that an inline inspection tool was run through the pipeline last February. We've been waiting on the data. It collects tremendous amount of data. The vendor has to take that data, run algorithms through it, analyze it, and then they give it to us. And part of that process that's very key is to make sure that tool run is a good tool run. We go, we'll say, it says, there's this minor spot here. Go dig it and verify that occurs at the exact GPS location. The tool called it, and in fact, is it as the tool called? Is it as deep? Is it as shallow? Is there something that was missing there? So we are moving along the pipeline, doing those verification digs from that tool run that was conducted in February.
Well,
And there should be no opening of the pipe.
I guess what I don't understand is, it was dug up. I walked over there because I'm part of the church there. That's my church, and I'm part of the fellowship hall and the pantry. And I walked over there and I looked down that deep hole. And I found this big old huge exposed pipe. And you had this cellophane wrapped around the middle part of it.
Yeah.
And right underneath that pipe, with about this much depth from the pipe to the ground, there was oil right there.
There's not one.
Well, ma'am, I saw it, so whatever. But I'm just, and the fumes were so bad they were about to knock me down, so I went home. So what I'm asking is, why did y'all dig that up?
I just told you why we did
So,
it.
okay,
And
you
I
just
have-
inspect-
I know of no oil. I'm not just saying that, I will be shocked. I have no idea. There's no oil coming from the pipe in any dig that we have done. And the cellophane wrapped on it, just to address that, when you dig a section of the pipe, you look at the external coating and say, while we have it dug out, should we repair, should we go ahead and do something there, so.
Yeah, I saw the hook marks in it, so I figured that's why you were
Coating.
band-aiding it, going around the pipe, just to patch it.
Coding will always inspect it. But I feel very confident telling you we have found no breaches.
Any other questions?
Can you tell me the process that you go through to actually get all the oil out from underneath the foundations of the homes in the subdivision? Because just a couple days before y'all released people to start moving back into their homes, there were photographs from some of the Northwood homeowners that actually showed oil coming from the foundations of the homes. And I have copies of those pictures.
Yeah, and there are 3 homes that have oil impacting the foundation.
This was further down the road.
Well, all the testing around the homes, we core horizontally and vertically, and there are no oil under the foundations except for the 3 downstairs. And those 3 will require extensive remediation. Those 3 will require remediation of those homes.
So can you tell me the process that you go through to how to get the oil from underneath the subdivisions, homes?
There are a variety of processes.
Uh-huh.
Our experts are here. The remediation folks that do that for a living are here on site in Mayflower. They are currently running the response in the neighborhood. They're looking at a variety of options, one of which I was asked about earlier, which is demoing the home. Others are excavating under the home and resampling to ensure you have it all. Anything that we do will ultimately have to result in the samples of the soil that's left there meeting the standards of residential area.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one more question. For the homes that are so-called being bought out by Exxon, how long is that property gonna be vacant?
I can't answer that question. I mean, certainly, we own property there. We currently own 5 homes in the neighborhood. The program, the property purchase program is available to everyone in that neighborhood, as well as the value protection. If someone wants to stay, we will pay any loss of value for that home. For the homes that we do purchase, we will use a group of experts to market those homes. We have no intention of dumping them all on the market and lowering property values in that neighborhood. We want to work with the homeowners in that neighborhood. Other people already had their home on the market before the spill. We don't want to undercut their opportunity to sell their home to someone else if they don't want to sell it to ExxonMobil. So your concern is real, and it takes a managed approach by people who know real estate. So there's an organization within ExxonMobil managing that real estate.
So basically, I just wanna make sure I get a clear, precise answer on this one. There will be no homes that will be bought out to a cash buyer that will be turned into rental property. I just wanna make sure of that, if that's what I'm hearing.
I don't know. There will be no homes bought out to a cash buyer turned into rental property.
Do I need to
answer that.
rephrase the question?
What I can say is it's in every bit of our interest to keep the property values where they are, which is very good. We have every intent of respecting the people who live there now and like living there and not reducing that property value. That is our goal.
One of the things I'll add, if I could,
Absolutely.
is it's not as though, I mean, that's a valid question. And it's not as though that's not been thought about or addressed actually in an ongoing way. I think Karen would tell you today some of the questions that we posed to them, I guess I posed to them personally, was keep in mind if you leave those homes vacant and don't take care of them, it's going to cost you money. And it will cost everyone else money. And they're aware of that. Because they'll be, as a matter of fact, as of right now, they're the largest landowner in that subdivision. And that is probably going to grow some. And just down to the little details like, you better leave the air conditioner on in that thing. If you leave a building vacant and allow it to go through the heat cycles that a building, like a barn or an unconditioned building goes through, it's going to go downhill. You have trouble passing inspection, aren't you, Chief? It just runs down quickly, and they are aware of that. I'm gonna urge them not to leave, I've asked them just to leave the air conditioner on. I don't think you have to turn it on 65 degrees in the summertime, but you need to just moderate that temperature in there. Same thing with grass. I mean, you guys will take care of the grass. I trust that they'll do things like that will not cause the market to plunge. You guys have got a vested interest in, on your behalf, I have been asking those questions and urging them to do the things that I think, personally, just as someone who's built spec houses before. I've got, my dad's a developer, stepmom's a real estate agent, has been for years and years. Just the things that, if I lived in that subdivision, the things that I would think need to be done, just common sense, those things aren't being looked at, and I know today I was impressed with some of the things that, they replied to me with, like, okay, well, yeah, you guys clearly thought about that, so, the home values of the rest of the homes, particularly in Northwood subdivision, they don't want to dump. Number one, it costs them money. They're a big company, but they don't just throw money away. So they're going to try to protect the market. Then beyond Northwood subdivision, we have builders who have homes in other places. Anybody else who wants to sell their home. Everyone has a vested interest in making sure the market value doesn't plunge. And so, we'll be monitoring that for you. Right now, I'm pleased with what they've done, and I just commit to you that I'll do what I can.
I got another question. On the market value.
If I may add,
Yes, sir.
because you might clarify, the property purchase program that Karen described, it's valid for 3 years. It was launched first on April 15, so less than 3 weeks after the incident, with the intention of protecting the property owners, right, and protecting their value, right? But it's good through May 4th, 2016. That means that people have the option to stay in their home, come back, or if they never left, to sell their home up to then with the full package of benefits. If anybody sells their home to Exxon, and Exxon then sells the homes to somebody else, whoever buys into that house is protected for the same duration of time, through May the 4th, 2016. So if somebody buys a home tomorrow, in any of those that we own, right, or any of the ones that are being for sale, by the folks that are selling their house under the program, they'll be protected with the same privilege of if you were there on the day of the incident. Because what we're trying to do is to really encourage Northwood to maintain its price value, to maintain its attractiveness. And it's not, just like the judge mentioned, we're not interested to dump this, but it has to be done in an orderly, managed way. And there's a group of commercial real estate folks that are dedicated just to make sure that that happens. Right, so a lot of effort. I'm glad to answer more questions in detail. I know that you can stop at the community outreach office. It's one of the topics that Jamie loves to, engage with folks. If you have more questions, you guys want a copy of the program. It's a very comprehensive program. It's more than 30 pages long, and it details what it is that we've offered to the folks there.
I think what the gentleman's concerned about is these homes that Exxon's purchasing or have purchased, if they'll be turned into rental property. Sometimes rental property will make the value of the homes go down, right?
From an outside buyer.
And from outside buyer.
From a cash offer, because right now in that subdivision, as everybody knows, is that no bank is gonna underwrite any property in that subdivision. As we all know, it's point blank. So when I ask that question, I'm asking from a constituent of that neighborhood.
It's a good question, right? And it's one that it's been posed to us, and we have some folks working on that. Early on in a response of this type, think commercially, right? The banks are going to be a little bit skittish, and rightly so. And you start asking them, and Jamie has held a couple of forums with realtors and appraisers and lending companies, to try to gauge where they are. And there's quite a bit of a misconception. When we did the first seminar, a lot of folks thought that every single one of the 62 homes was compromised with oil. And that's the assumption that a lot of folks read just what they see on the news, and they take it for granted. And there was a lot of misconception that all 62 homes were compromised. So it's gonna take a little bit of increase the level of understanding, and for them to come visit, and there is seminars coming up, and in fact, we're hosting some with the Appraisal Institute, for them to actually come and see Northwood with their own eyes, and see that at the end of the day, there's only 3 homes today that are compromised. Everything else, by the authorities, have been deemed to be okay for folks to reenter. It takes a little bit of understanding. We're starting to see some realtors, we're starting to see some lenders that are coming, knocking on our doors now that the community outreach office is open, and saying, hey, what can I do to sell some of the properties? I'm interested in getting that commission. We've increased our commission, the commission that the realtors get, so that there's more incentive for them to actually get into the business of selling some of those homes. We're listening to the concerns that the folks are expressing, and we're committed to making this right.
Okay, now, I've read that package, and it says any of the realtors are not getting any money. So if I'm wrong in this, please correct me, because that's actually stated in the pamphlet.
I'll be more than happy to have a sit down with you and show you.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but the bottom line is this: the homes that we buy, right? And you're absolutely right. In the ones that are being marketed, and the home is after 120 days have not been able to be sold, we're just going to buy it outright from the homeowner, if that's what they want to do, right? So in that case, the commission is different. In the homes that we want to sell, right, or anybody wants to sell within the 120 days, there is a commission for that. Right.
For any final buyer, other than ExxonMobil, there's absolutely a commission, and it's at 7%.
I was just talking strictly to the realtors that they have out there on the properties.
Yeah, if they sell them,
They get a commission. If they don't sell a home and you're going to buy it, well, then you don't
we
get
have
that.
to do a realtor market, and then a realtor.
The technicalities of the real estate business are not simple. I know that most of us have owned homes, and we get to the bottom of it. We'll be very happy to sit down and walk you through it and get some of the folks that are getting it. It takes a while, though. I'll be perfectly frank. There is a lot of misconceptions out there. We're dealing with an industry that by tradition tends to be very conservative. Lending money is a very conservative approach, right? But as folks start to see the opportunity, and we're trying to create the right opportunity to get the momentum going, some of those homes are very nice, right? And when you start looking about how well this neighborhood stacks up in the area and how well the recovery has taken place, and at the end, it came down to 3 homes, right? I think you're gonna get the right enthusiasm. Our interest is to get Northwoods to be the attractive place to be that it was, and even better, right? And one of the things that we're very hopeful is that we look around and the economic growth in this area points that, yeah, we might have to sit on a couple of homes for a few months, hopefully not years, but when the time comes, you know, I think there'll be people that will be interested in buying to move in. We're not
Again,
gonna
I'd like to, I appreciate you coming down and explaining everything. If you got any other questions, right there, Jamie, is that they're gonna have that office open. Go down there and talk to him all day. He'd be glad to talk to you. He'd like to answer your questions. He can talk to these guys. But I appreciate all of that. I really do. I would like to go on through the rest of the agenda, if y'all don't mind. It's kind of a ironic thing that each year I get to do an impact award. And it's for the person that actually, that I appreciate helping them. And I remember 15-hour days. I'm 7 days a week. And Alan, if you'd come up here to the front, Alan Dodson stood right there with me 7 days a week. If you'd like to, did you read that thing?
Yes. The Mayor's Impact Award. The Mayor's Impact Award is an award given each year by the Mayor of Mayflower to an individual who has made a definite impact on this community. It can most certainly be said that the person upon this honor is bestowed tonight has made a great impact on this community. When the ExxonMobil pipeline ruptured here in Mayflower on March 29th, Alan Dodson was just beginning his tenure as the newly appointed county judge of Faulkner County. I was closely associated with Alan's predecessor, Preston Scroggins, so I knew of Alan's most recent appointment, but did not really know anything about this man. At that time, I did not know that he was born and raised in Faulkner County, gone to school in Fayetteville, and been a Razorback football player. Served as a commissioned officer in the Navy, graduated with honors from law school, been in practice for about 5 years, and had as recently as 6 months prior been appointed as county judge. See, I didn't know all of that, nor did I know that his lineage consisted of 250 members, that his great-great-grandfather was the first sheriff of Faulkner County, and so forth and so forth. I didn't know all of that. But since he came so highly recommended by Preston, I was certain of his capabilities. But I had quite honestly thought to myself, this man has got some really big shoes to fill. Little did I know how well he would fill those shoes until the emergency situation arose in Mayflower. From the moment Alan received word of the ruptured pipeline, he immediately went into action. He used the powers vested in him as county judge with every means available to avert the oil from entering Lake Conroe. He not only worked to prevent the oil from entering the lake, but to also to protect the residents and to keep the disruptions of their lives as minimal as possible, while also taking into concerns the wildlife and their habitat. In the Bible, in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26, when God said, "Let us make man dominion over every living creature and make him in our image and likeness," I believe God had an image of Alan Dodson. Alan worked diligently and tirelessly. Hours became days and days became weeks, yet never faltering. He could be seen on site early mornings for the meetings at the command center, touring with the dignitaries, or informing the press, and through it all, tired to the bone, his demeanor never changed. Alan exemplifies leadership, he demonstrates compassion, and he illustrates integrity. I shudder to think of the outcome had anyone other than Alan Dodson been chosen to assume the role of county judge. I believe it would have been a whole lot differently. It was Alan Dodson's leadership, compassion, and integrity that prevented the oil spill from becoming a major catastrophic event. So tonight, the mayor says, it is my great honor and privilege to present the Mayor's Impact Award for 2013 to Faulkner County Judge Alan Dodson.
I appreciate it.
Mayor, would you read the plaque for everyone?
Do that. It's the Mayor's Impact Award. It's presented to Faulkner County Judge Alan Dodson in recognition of the invaluable service he provided to the citizens of Mayflower during the aftermath of the oil spill. His knowledge, leadership skills, and take charge approach proved invaluable in preventing the oil spill from becoming a catastrophic event. Thanks for a job well done. Randy O. Holland, Mayor, September 24, 2013. Thank you, and if I could, I'd like to just say a few words as well. Many of you, as a matter of fact, it started right here, and I know, looking at you in the back, all of you guys that have worked on this response, ADH, ADEQ, EPA, OEM, and I think somebody knew what was going down here tonight. We'll talk about that later.
Certified fair play.
And so, it is, by the way, the state emergency manager, emergency coordinator of the year, Ms. Sheila McGee, is standing in the back. We surprised her with that. Department of Emergency Management nominated her for that, and it's an award by her peers to her, very prestigious, and we're proud of her. And, her organization, we're proud of all the city folks, Jimmy Joe, Chief. But I think most of all, Mayor Randy Holland. Those of you who live here in Mayflower, I think most of all, what I would like to do tonight is just say thank you for your leadership. You probably know I was the one that had, the cameras located and wouldn't leave, and so I'm the one that ends up getting all the credit. And as you well know, that's really not right for that to be that way. Everybody that I worked with including the Exxon folks, and they're just people like you and me. So this award, truly, I know you hear it, but I feel a little bit guilty accepting this award because I know so many people who worked hard, just as hard and many harder than I did. So I know that the mayor spent many sleepless nights. He had many other issues to worry about and deal with in running a city. And I know the things that he went through. And so I don't think we recognize him enough. Chief, all the people, the employees, and all the emergency responders, the recognition that you all have received is well worth it. But one person we don't recognize enough is Mayor Randy Holland. And so if you'd join me in giving him a standing ovation.
And I would like to say one thing too. To be mayor, you have to have a good city council. We have the best city council in this whole state. And I just appreciate them. They stood right there with me, all of these guys. They did. They knew it was a hard thing to do, but I tried to keep them informed as much as I could, but I want to appreciate them too. And thanks again, Alan. We always called him the quarterback of the group because he could always talk. He could get out there and talk. But I appreciate it again. Any other business coming before the city council member? Oh, we do have Mac Compton for a report on Paradise Road. We did